let's talk to Kell in Utah. Kell, you're live with Eric and Owen. What would you like to talk about?
Wow. Absolute pleasure. Just wanted to say thanks. Huge fan of both. Owen, you personally, your videos helped me get out of Mormonism. Really appreciate that. And Eric, your calls and things. Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And Eric, your videos helped me really get into secular humanism and skepticism. So honestly, big thanks to both of you for a big impact on my life.
Oh, that just gives me the warm fuzzies. Yay. All right. How can we help you?
Well, yeah, I had a question for both of you. I, as mentioned, deconverted from Mormonism this year, and I have been really in the midst of setting healthy boundaries with my family. I've told them they know I'm atheist, and it's been a very interesting experience. My parents are extremely devout, and as a Mormon, I would have considered them very progressive. But now that I'm an atheist, I think that it looks like they're kind of towing the line of being really, really orthodox, maybe kind of in reaction to me leaving and then kind of getting scared. The specific question I had is, I've had a couple of conversations with them, and in the most recent one with my mother specifically, she essentially told me outright that she does not care if there was adamant proof, and she's an attorney too, but she wouldn't care if there was adamant, overwhelming proof that the Mormon Church was a front for something as awful as it was just a complete shell for human trafficking or something terrible. She wouldn't want to know, and she would not change her lifestyle or her support of the church, even when presented with kind of just any type of evidence to the contrary. And it was the first time that I've ever heard her say anything other than, oh yeah, I want my views based in reality and truth. And I'm just literally saying, I don't care if it's not true. I don't want to hear it, and it's not comfortable for me. And so my question for you two is, what would you recommend for engaging in a relationship, having a healthy relationship with somebody who doesn't even want truth as the basis for the reality and consciously knows that?
Woof.
I can go if you want to give it some thought. Okay. I don't know how much of my channel you've seen. I don't know how much of my channel the audience in general has seen. So let me just kind of elaborate on my situation a little bit. My mom is a Jehovah's Witness. One of the last Jehovah's Witnesses in my family. Pretty much everybody is left at this point. But she has actively said, pretty much, I know that this is a cult, and I still want to be in it. I still want to be a member of this. Whether it's a cult or not is irrelevant. How do you deal with something like that? At this point,
right,
I've come to maybe an agreement with her that we will only talk about it if she brings it up. If you want to maintain a relationship with them, you may have to come to an agreement like that with them. Only talk about it if they bring it up, and if they do, then the conversation is fair game. Now, if you're just trying to break through that barrier and try to get through to them to try to help them change their mind, then I would recommend trying some street epistemology, maybe just non-confrontationally, calmly, just ask super basic questions that kind of point them in the right direction, but don't challenge them directly, because if they get challenged directly, their guard's going to go up and the conversation's over. They're not listening to anything else you have to say. So that would be my recommendation. If you want to keep a relationship with them, let them guide how much you talk about it. If you want to try to deconvert them, which is going to be a challenge, try some non-confrontational street epistemology stuff.
Okay. Thanks. I appreciate that.
I think that it's also important to recognize, and I'm sure you do, so I may just be saying this for the benefit of the audience, that when you have someone who espouses a view like that, they're not just saying it because that's what they believe, as a religious concept. It's something that they're entrenched in. It's where they get their community. It's where they get their identity. And so when you talk about the church, you're talking about something that they see themselves inextricably a part of. And so even if the doctrine isn't right, that's where your friends are. That's where you get validation. That's where your community is. That's where you've invested and laid roots. And in all of those ways, when you have somebody respond like that, I would not even want to know. It could also be a want to protect those things that they get out of it. It's part of the reason why we as secular humanists want to try and encourage people to gather and create community and be there for each other and give people other ways to get that, because religion doesn't have a stranglehold on community. But often when I'm talking to people like that, that seems to be what they think.
Yeah, I think I've recognized a lot of that too, just in things that they've said in terms of, a lot of the value they get explicitly is from the community in their words. And it's really interesting because, so my mom, I mentioned she's an attorney. She does international humanitarian law, which isn't like giving food away necessarily. It's more like tackling war criminals and things like that. So, she's got this huge drive for social justice and like wanting to help people. And my dad is similar as well. But it's just so interesting seeing them, like when it comes to anything related to the Mormon church, that instantly gets suspended. And it's weird because I'll see them say like something that I would almost even recognize as like a church like pamphlet line, and then they'll say what they think, which is directly contradictory to that, and then they'll say immediately after, they'll repeat the first thing they said. That's like just kind of, I don't know, some programming line. It's just so
cognitive dissonance.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but no, I think that the community is a big reason why they do kind of hang around.
And you know what the worst part of it is? You're probably not the person who's going to convince her. You're probably too close.
Not.
That might not be the case. And honestly, I would imagine that conversation you had with her is probably going to stick with her for a long time. But best of luck. It bites that we can't give you a magic bullet, just a perfect answer and a way to fix it. But at least know that you're not alone in it.
Yeah, and also, Christians like to portray the situation where like an atheist only needs 5 minutes to destroy people's faith. They're insidious. They get in there and, with all the flies landing on them in their lizard skin, they just walk in, say 3 words, subliminally controlling you, and suddenly you're not a Christian anymore. You got to stay away from them. Obviously, that's not how it works.
Well, Owen, you're making me sound a lot more badass than I actually am.
Right.
Well,
so it's a long process, obviously.
Yeah. And give yourself some credit. You're probably more badass.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said you're probably more badass than you give yourself credit. I'm glad you called in, man.
Well, thanks. Hey, yeah, and thanks both for your time, and I appreciate it. It's good to hear the opinions of a third party that's not currently or formerly Mormon, and appreciate it.
Appreciate you back. Take care.
Yep.
Just as long as people know, we again are just 2 assholes on the internet.
Right.
We're lay people. We're not professional therapists, and we always suggest that people who want and need that kind of help to talk to a therapist, because honestly, I think a therapist would be really, really beneficial in this point. I wish he was still on the line so I could say that. A therapist could actually listen to your personal situation and get to understand the dynamic between you and your mother, and maybe help you with an action plan, or help you with methods of being able to move forward.
Exactly. And there are actually a lot of services online for this. Like there's, BetterHelp and Talkspace and like a billion others that you can go to. And there's a certain fee every month that you can pay, and you talk to this person through the phone. Super straightforward. I'm honestly of the opinion that basically every single person in the world has something that or some way in which they could benefit from a therapist. So talking to a therapist for pretty much everybody is probably a fine idea.
Absolutely. Our crew wants to make sure that we also say seculartherapyproject.org. There's also a wonderful starting place. Go to seculartherapy.org, or you can call into the Recovering from Religion hotline. There's the Clergy Project. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, but just as a side note, in the background, our crew put in all caps, Secular Therapy Project. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.